There's a couple of things that you need to know if you don't have a PC computer. Now, one of the big things in this industry is that there are a large number of companies who are using the program Revit. Now, Autodesk Revit really only runs on a PC. So a lot of, or a majority of the interior design companies are using PC computers. So my advice and our advice here at CallArts is that you get yourself a PC, a Windows machine. Now, it can be a powerful laptop or a desktop. If you have a Mac laptop, we still recommend you get a PC. There are a couple of workarounds that you can do if you have a Mac, but a PC is the way to go. So if you do have a Mac, use Parallels or use Boot Camp. Parallels is a program which runs on Mac, and it basically tries to emulate the Windows interface. You will need a copy of Windows to run Parallels. And what it will do is it will use the Mac computer to try and run it as if it was a PC. Now, there are a couple of issues with this. One is that your shortcuts will be different in the program because you'll be expecting to do Windows shortcuts when you're using a Mac computer. And the other thing is your Mac computer may not be powerful enough to run programs such as Revit. Now, if you want to have a look at Boot Camp, Boot Camp is essentially an app within the Mac interface which allows you to basically cut your hard drive and sort of separate a different part to be a Windows part of your computer and keep another section as your Mac side of things. Now, that might seem quite appealing, but the difficulty is that you really need as much power as you can for Windows and Revit because they're really quite power hungry and memory intensive. So, for example, if you had a 500 gig hard drive, which I would say should be your minimum, then if you were to split that right down the middle, you'd end up with a 256 gig hard drive on each. So 256 is the least that you should ever use Windows for because you will run out of memory very, very quickly. But if you were to use that, you're basically running your Mac as if it was a Windows. So it's going to overheat. It's going to make some noise because it's trying to run it as a PC. When you restart your computer, you have a choice of running it as a Mac or as a PC. If you run it back as your Mac, it's only running at half capacity because you've given over half of your memory to the Windows side. So there's compromises on both those options, whether you do Boot Camp or Parallels. And obviously our best advice is to get a PC. Now, if you are going to get a PC, my most valuable advice is to get the best one that you can possibly afford. Now, if you go to Autodesk and go to the Revit page, you'll see the minimum requirements for the computer for this version. So if this is 2020, then you'll see the minimum requirements for Revit 2020 or Revit 2021. And that will tell you what the minimum specifications for your computer should be. You can take that into the computer shop and say to somebody you want that as your minimum specifications. If you're going to do some rendering further down the course, we're using something called Enscape in 2020. Who knows what it will be in the future, but for now, Enscape works really well with an NVIDIA graphics card. So it's important to try and get a really good graphics card with your computer if you can. It's definitely worth investing in a PC. It is the industry standard at the minute. Macs are great to look at. They're used a lot in the graphic design industry, which is sometimes referred to as the design industry, even though it doesn't include interiors and architecture. So if you can, stump up the money, get yourself a PC. If not, you're going to have to deal with the problems that come with Parallels and Boot Camp until you get fed up and end up buying a PC anyway. All right, do yourselves a favor, get on board, and good luck.